More love and wellness.
Precious mother love, precious
The queen of the wings and things. More love and wellness. Love plus art equals wellness.
grandpa,
Hey,
grandpa.
the king of the wings and things. Hey,
Precious mother
hey,
love, secretary,
hey,
mother love, secretary.
hey, yeah, ready, set, here I go, come on. Yeah, under Morocco and Puerto Rico, Mississippi, Cincinnati, and my home DC. They're all doing the same thing. The dance we call the chicken wing. There's something about that spicy stuff. Hey, so focus, so I knock you off your line. Okay, the flavor. One more time. And Cali and Philly and Houston too. From the barbecue to the drive-thru. In Baltimore and Chicago, we gon' do the chicken wing. I said, oop, oop, call y'all stand on up. Come on and do this thing. We call the chicken wing. You step up twice and start with your right. And step back twice, start with your right again. I ain't never took it that far on the show before, but hey, one love and wellness, Ashe. I think you're probably hearing a lot of air blowing on you right about now. Let me turn the AC down. It overheats my phone when it's in the window, so let's hope that it will not overheat. In the meantime, Ashe, everyone. One love and wellness. It looks like I need to wipe off the screen a little bit. Looks like it's, oh, maybe it's just do it anyway. Do it anyway. It was the sun. I think it is the sun. Or maybe I made it worse. But one love and wellness, love plus art equals wellness. Precious mother love, welcome to Heart Happy Hour, season 5. We are rocking and rolling. We are on the highway. Just got off of another live where I also invited you into the audience. The next or the preceding video live was from Soulful Sunday with High Priest Master Shep, with Bowl Master Tony, with myself, Precious Mother Love, and Oluroon. And a few live guests came into the audience, into the Temple of Mother Earth, the location where Soulful Sunday is broadcast from. And I just wanted to continue on something that I stumbled upon while I was on it. Plus, I like to take advantage of the highway time, because when I'm able to separate myself and be on autopilot, because I do not have the GPS on today. I pretty much know where I'm going. So until I finish the broadcast, I'm going to leave the GPS off. I'm going to tune into the broadcast. And that actually reminds me of part of what I wanted to talk about, which, because I watched this program on Netflix, and its second season came out, and I'm still watching the second season. I think I'm on the last episode, and I haven't got to the whole last episode, but they made a point on the beginning or the end of the last episode, which is the next to the last episode. There was a statement made, and I started to expand on it, and it really started my juices to flow on some other thoughts that I wanted to tie together of some other things that I actually have been pondering. This snowball keeps getting bigger, and I am not certain that I am accurate and correct on every point, but a lot of those points are pointing to each other in some way. So the point that I heard, or the line that I heard them speak, which began a whole new mindset on some things, is in reference to human beings, and the animal kingdom. Okay, so if you look at how we covet our dogs or covet any of our animal friends, and they become like family or whatever, because this topic started because we started talking about Father's Day, and it really kicked off when we on Soulful Sunday talked about Mother's Day, and so today was kind of like a culmination of that. So when we look at how we are, as people, not trying to be as uncivilized, whatever uncivilized is, that might be to me the category that an animal would be in. An animal is uncivilized. Nature is uncivilized. When we try to prune nature or GMO nature into a civilized fashion, then this statement is that perspective. So the statement they made was that the humans are the sickness, because the sickness came to the hi, I see people saying things. One Love and Wellness. I can't read it. I'm on the road. I'm driving. I know both hands don't have to always be on the wheel, but if I can read it quickly, I'll do that. But right now I can't. I tried it twice. Okay, so that if we, the human beings, the okay, so I want to go back to something that is talked about, that we were seated here to this planet in some way for whatever reason. We were monitored. I mean, we were manipulated. We were GMO'd. We are now an evolution of some former versions of beings that were occupying this globe, or whatever this planet's shape is. Egg, oval, square, flat. I don't know. But if I look at, let's say, when we get attacked by a virus or some sort of illness or sickness, really it's just trying to live. I don't even know if that could be necessarily in an uncivilized or civilized categorized. I don't know if it could be categorized as either of those, civilized or uncivilized. But my thought is that we are on this earth, and the planet to me was formerly a plant. It's just now, and I spoke of this on my last live, that the planet is now, it has evolved to a place, this rock now has accumulated enough particles and matter that it has now grown to a place where it is self-sufficient, and is suspended within the etherics, or it is a part of a constellation, because it is now it has now some buoyancy within the energy around it, the gases around it. It falls into the energy cycle of other things that it is, and if you look at the bigness of, stars, and then galaxies, and then universes, and then, over top of, overlapping, connecting, driving each other, all that energy movements and stuff, so anyway, getting back to, so that was how I described that, perhaps we are planets, which is, they say we're made of all of the same sorts of things. Okay, so we tamper with, with this beautiful, brilliant mind that we have. We tamper with a lot of things relative to, how many options and tweaks can we make on all these different lanes of things. For instance, how many different types of foods can we combine and make, and Frankenstein into, or, morph into, mutate into, evolve into, because I think the taking out of the wisdom teeth part of evolving into, was a part of that, keeping us in our monkey mind, because the wisdom teeth are part of the system that, and, there are people that grind their teeth at night, but part of that, not all of that, but part of that is in reference to being able to keep your pineal gland decalcified, not to allow the calcification to occur. But if you don't have your wisdom teeth in you as you grow older, instead of you having your connection between the tonsils and the systems that I think that are connected to your pineal gland. There's like a spiritual system of our gland systems. Like our systems have a direct connection, but they have an energetic connection, and then they have a Lord sort of kind of connection to like the inner outer realm, and then the outer realm. So if I were to say we select, we pick our poison, our selections of how we live this life, these options that we have of how we are presenting ourselves, how we are deciding, what to eat, what to wear, when to sleep, what type of job we want. I mean, there's so many options of the type of how we show up in our God essence, how we have not multiplied. Yeah, I guess they're all considered talents. How we artistically portray this story and all that it includes. Our story, what makes us us, what made up us to become us, because those things aren't us per se, but they're the things that built us and built that muscle and built us that brain and built those, lanes of connections and, to the neurons and how they fire and wire together, so those patterns, those habits and things, so many different ones. But what I'm saying is that when I looked at the perspective of us being the sickness, meaning you choose to eat all these different crazy things, whatever those crazy things are. But we may not need to eat them. There are people that are breatharians. The way we even choose to breathe. I mean, there are things within the way we breathe that we can change, that would change our existence, that would change the way we live, the way we look at things. How aerated we are. So there's so many variations of how we can express ourselves within this vessel, within this, our vibes as we pick. Oh, traffic is starting to pick up, so I apologize. I have to start paying attention to the road. But it's a very, and hi there to the folks that are there with me. Ashe, one love, and wellness. But yeah, I say that there is a likeness to that phrase. I might resemble that remark in some ways because, try as I might to not, the more I don't tune into Mother Earth's cycles, and I'll get back to how that thought within that movie moved me. But the some things are inalienable about these vessels and about this planet and about this life. Some things are a given, but the given is to what degree? So that's the variations of, say, for instance, you are a man or a woman. What about hermaphrodites? What about someone who has very, very, very pronounced parts, pieces of themselves that pronounce you that gender? So there's variations of the, and then those who have the very slightest indication of their gender, meaning, no fronts, no backs, no middles, very little of the backs, fronts, or middles. But I do think that, there's some value in how the thought is that perhaps we are the illness. That phrase, we pick our poison, because we know at some point this vessel expires according to the most recent upgrade, or we're actually modifying our upgrade, which, if the telomeres were capped off, at 120, then so are we expanding that? There are people that are reaching closer to that mark, which means there are people that will probably be looking closer to moving past that mark. But to what degree, the way our technology has been, zip zooming, zow, around that, within 10 years, there might be some newfangled things that AI and us come up with, technologically, the $6 million and $6 billion men and women, the movie, the TV show. What's his name? Steve Austin. Perhaps there's the version of us that develops their natural tendencies to the point of being superhero-ish categories. Excuse me. And it might be some of those who go the route of, how plastic surgery puts us in a light of, whatever differences, enhancements, and so on, for whatever their reasons are. I was going to say for vanity, but for whatever their reasons are, those are options that if you are in a position to get, are that's when it becomes an option. When you can afford it, or when someone decides, okay, you've won this award, certificate, or you're, because of it being so much this or so much that, we want to correct it or better it or improve it, or make you, a part of a new whatever, improved versions. So okay, yeah, so, but as just as any virus would do, we get stronger, we live longer, just like the pesticides that we use, just like the, vaccinations, or any of our medical, developments, our body finds a way to get better at either the sickness or the wellness, depending on, the way that came about. But yeah, for sure, there is a chance that, we our our lives, we are now, what did I say, civilized. Well, what is civilized? We're less tuned in, not we, but the tendency has been towards getting away from the land, getting away from the not just the planet, but natural things, wearing the hair natural, living in natural, we have to preserve areas in order for us to conserve that space, as allowing earth to express herself naturally in those areas, and so let's get back to what the movie was about. The movie was called Sweet Tooth, the series, the program, the episodes. I think I'm at the final episode, if I'm not mistaken. I think I'm on, I don't know, either 7 or 8. So anyway, so the statement that was made was that there was an Indian woman, and she had actually had a child during a time, or around the time, that there was this researcher, this cutting edge person that was looking to find, he had actually found what was considered the blood of the earth. And so it was a tree, and the tree had blood coming from it, because he had hacked at it a couple times, and it had leaked into the water supply. And I believe that blood, because of its extreme degree of, like, it, all of the species of the earth and all the plants had come from it. And you know how trees, maple trees, they give the sap of the tree as their gift, as their present, as their, what is that people, anyway, it's their talent, it's their gift, and they share it. And so, that's the same way with honey and bees and flowers. Like all this, there's a place in the cycle of life for all these things to find its way into its service. It's either a service of, pollinating the earth, being fruitful and multiply. It's also a possibility that, its gifts, if tapped into, pun intended, for us tapping into the tree's maple syrup, or what we turn into maple, or the bear, finding the honeycomb, digging into the bee's hive. So, I'm, the way the father described it to the child about the cycle of life was that, yes, the trees do feel things, but they don't feel it the way we feel it, and the it is happy to give its gift. It's a part of its life cycle. It knows that's the order of their day, their presentation, what their offerings are. That was the word I was looking for. Their offerings. So anyway, so I went off on a tangent, but it really does make sense that there is a chance we act just like it really, maybe we even look like we're on an ant farm right now. I'm on the highways. I'm on the highway, and daggone it, it's Father's Day, and everybody and their mama's going to see their daddy, their papas. So I'm on my way to a family gathering and about to do the same thing, celebrate the male energy. And I talked about on the episode earlier today, Soulful Sunday, my segment, when I did speak, I spoke about the planets and the celestial part of it. So just earlier, I spoke on what I thought a planet, how a planet could evolve. If we're made of the same thing, dust to dust, if we're made of the same stardust, then, it stands to reason that we have, each of us has the potential, as we multiply and grow and excel and evolve, and all the things that it influences, us getting to grander and bigger, higher energy levels and expressions of ourselves, that eventually we might be a sun or a dwarf, or grow from one to the other, as we, some collide, some go back to being ashes to ashes and dust to dust. Some go back to, are still on the cycle of the up cycle, and there's that circle as you're going down, back to the nothingness, back to the zero, back to the all, back to the potential of being whatever you now newly can be shaped and formed into. Energy never dies. So we all just reformat ourselves. Yay, we're moving again. Okay, so so yeah, I had some things on my mind I wanted to talk about, and I thought Heart Happy Hour should be the place for me to have that first discussion. I'll be doing a few more, updates. I'm now remembering the fact that I had said, and I'm sorry, blah 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 blah. I'm talking. I can't even read what you're saying, but I can see you probably saying that. But anyway, so about those planets I talked about last year, the year before, I called, when Mother's Day came, I called it a planetary parade. And that's not a name I coined it, but I'm just saying I saw that there was a planetary parade going on. And this year, again, noticing, this year it's 6 planets, they lining up. And I made a comment previously before that, sometimes you hear that, oh, something happened and it hasn't happened in so many years, and it's never going to happen again in so many more years. So I keep hearing those things, but they're not adhering to that. I feel like that, that new Trump personality, I'm seeing the fact that, energy again can be manipulated into what you want it to be in some cases. So when I look up certain things, sometimes I trigger an algorithm for something else to come up, and then sometimes because I triggered that algorithm, they'll change my algorithm for whatever reasons, so that it actually lines up more with what they prefer the lineup to be with. So if I accidentally stumble onto a couple of pieces of some other puzzles and some other ways of looking at the pie, then they may decide, okay, well, and whoever the they is, there may be a decision that comes, okay, that we don't want too much attention in that area, we don't want too much light to be shed on that, or that's not the talk track that we want, that's not the conversation, I forget what the narrative, that's not the narrative that we want to play out here. So in that case, as I said, I'm trying to add some of the pieces of the things that have come to me before, from things like sun gazing, and some things like, looking into resources online. Like, for instance, today I had, and I'm going to learn a lesson from this, but today, just before I left the house, I had, and I know you've probably heard, coconut water is something that is potentially, if a transfusion is needed, an IV can be, the container of, can be coconut water or coconut milk, one of the two. I don't know. I know it's fresh from the coconut. It can be used in transfusion. Okay, so if that's said, that is the potential, Okay, so I was drinking some, right? And so, like I say, electronic devices are imitations of what the body is. Just like I think sometimes I think of my house the same way, the way the wires run through the house, the way the electricity goes through the house. But I also think of my electronic devices like my camera and my phone, are able to imitate things that it can talk, but it's because it's, well, whatever. I can't say the causes. I just know it emulates the things that, like taking a picture, my eyes, like my vocal cords, like it has a speaker and it electronically emulates the sound that it is, absorbing and regurgitating back out. So, any case, so back to my story. So just before I left the house, I spilled coconut water on my computer. It went out. The laptop went out. Was out like it was dripping from the inside out of, and I was frantically, not frantically, I was trying to keep my head about myself and not get scared about it. I'm like, you know what, that's coconut water. Coconut water is, if it's good for my body, it's good for this daggone computer in some kind of way. Let it be good for this computer, let it be. It went out, and it took a while to come back on, but it came back on. I can do magic. Thank you, Rich Magic 363 Black, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. But yes, yes, yes. Goddess used her energy in that way. Goddess decided that this was the answer. Goddess decided that this was the solution. That Goddess decided to connect these dots in this way. So, hey, hey, hey. What do you say? Goddess performed a bit of magic. So, I feel, tell me if I'm wrong. Has anybody else had that ever happen? And I don't know if you would ever decide to do that, but let me just say this. I thought about before you could, who would think about giving a transfusion instead of blood using coconut water? Who would think about doing that, right? And who has done that? Where would that come from? So, okay, yeah, crazy thing. So does that mean there are other fruits that could be the case of? Is it not just, because that's like sucking on Mother Earth's teeth right there to me. Like, if like I'm getting cranked up again, if our excrement, they say, the nectar of the gods, they say that, God's shit gold, right? So if our excrement, if what we defecate out is nutrition or fertilizer for Mother Earth, which too much of a good thing, too much of anything is, out of balance, but in proper balance, it's a part of the cycle, the body itself is part of that cycle. It decomposes and it feeds and it what do you call it? Adds some nutrition to the soil. So, hey, One Love and Wellness, love plus art equals wellness. Am I at the end of my chit chat today? My quantum skywalk, highway ride, skyway highway, something like that. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I can't read while I'm on the highway. Thanks, folks, for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. One Love and Wellness. Happy Father's Day. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy Father's Day to all of you fellas, to all of you who have that father figure energy within you and have had to utilize it. We appreciate you adding to the balance of the energy that's required for whatever the reason that you have been bestowed upon that opportunity to portray fatherly energy, fatherly properties, fatherly ways, whatever version of energy. Appreciate my dad. Appreciate you. I had the opportunity for two pops. One has passed. That's my blood. That's my biological father. And then my pops, that is my mother's second marriage, who basically raised me, who was, very fed my mind with, information from as a youth. The first he actually gave me the book, Eat to Live, as like in 8th grade. But he also gave me wonderful, like look into the Consumer Digest and look through the information and compare this, that, and the other. He was a very, very do that because like the phone has heated. Looks like the phone is overheating. I apologize, guys. I think I better make it a short time here before I exit. So one love and wellness. Ashe, everybody. Thanks for joining me on Father's Day. I was on my way out anyway, so I don't know if the song will play long for us to head out, but yes. Who are you listening to?
Precious MotherLove, precious MotherLove.
Ashe. The queen of the wings. I'll see y'all next time. One love.
Shout out to Grandpa.
One love. Shout out to Grandpa on Father's Day. Hey. Yes. About to go. In London, Morocco, and Puerto Rico, Mississippi, Cincinnati.